Hey everyone, it's Nico, and I've got a fun little showcase here for you. If you've been following my channel for a while now, or even for just the last few months, you've seen that I've had a lot of fun covering new homebrew indie releases for the Game Boy Color. So I've got 4 games here that are all supposed to release in 2025, but obviously that's subject to change. But currently that's the goal for all 4 of these games, and all 4 games are different genres, so I got a ton of variety here for you. So I'm gonna show off some gameplay from the demos. I played through demos of all 4 of them, so if you're interested in checking these demos out for yourself, I'll just link each game's Kickstarter page in the pinned comment below. That's just easier than me trying to link the demo in case that moves. Also, the Kickstarter pages do a pretty good job of giving you more information than I will here in a short little video. But the first game we're gonna look at is called Metal Miracle. And this one is a side-scrolling action platformer that plays a bit like Contra, I guess, on Game Boy, but I didn't run into any power-ups for my gun. There are 2 different characters you can play as, but your main objective in this is to destroy these beacons on each level and collect the musical notes. And then once you do that, you can proceed to the next screen and so forth. You do have some hearts in the lower left corner that serves as your health, and if you meet your demise, you'll lose one of your lives and respawn. This one is like really heavy metal, so I think they nailed that aspect of it, but my main complaint with this one is that they don't really explain to you how to play. Now, maybe when the game actually comes out, they're gonna have like a manual you can look at, and it's gonna teach you that way. But in the beginning, like, I got stuck at one point because I had no idea that I can high jump. And you can also look up or look down by holding that direction on the D-pad to move the camera, which is obviously a more modern feature in games. Like, we're used to that in modern games. That wasn't so much a thing back in the day. So that's pretty cool. But again, I had no idea while playing this that I can do that. And it's pretty essential that you know that, because you need to be able to jump up to higher platforms by holding up and jump, or to move the camera so you can make sure that if you're going to jump down, you're not going to fall into a pit. These are things they really should do a better job of teaching you, even if they're just signposts near the beginning of the game that you can read. That's genuinely my only complaint. So if my only complaint is that it doesn't teach you how to play well enough, then I think you're doing pretty well with your game. Then the next game is called Snout. This was a fairly short demo, so I don't know how good of a sample I got from this one. But this is a game where you play as a little pig, and it's a platformer. You do have 2 different abilities that you start with. You have a fireball you can shoot out, which allows you to eliminate enemies. And then you also have a bubble, which gives you like a platform that you can use to proceed to higher altitudes or float across for a little bit. And so there's like a kind of a duality system going on there that's pretty neat. The one thing that I didn't like about this one is that since your character sprites are so large, it is very easy for you to get hit by an enemy coming onto the screen before you can even react. I don't necessarily know what they could do to make that better. Maybe make the enemies a little bit slower, because they also seem like they're really, really fast. But other than that, again, this is one that I really enjoyed, and I'm interested to see the rest of the demo for. It also did have some collectibles you can acquire, but your main goal in this one is mainly, like any old platformer, is just to get to the end of the level. It was fairly difficult for me, but I think that difficulty stemmed from, like I said, the sprites being so large, and also the fact that the enemies just seemingly come on the screen and you have no idea. You can't really move the camera and look around like you can in the last game, which if they added that in might actually be a cool feature. But yeah, this one's pretty cool if you like platformers, so this is definitely on my radar. And then the third game I've got here is called Witches and Butchers. This one is completely different than the other 3 games I have on here because they all have some semblance of platforming aspects, which I guess technically this one does, which ends up being coincidentally the weakest part of the whole demo. But this one is a side-scrolling shooter, but also an RPG, and does have a heavy emphasis on story. Like, there was a lot of story that was told just in the 20 minutes or so that I played the demo. After beating the first level, I also did unlock a second character, and you could switch between these 2 characters on the fly. They have their own projectiles. There was a town I encountered with, like side quests, and you can craft in this, or I guess I shouldn't say craft. You can cook in this by acquiring ingredients and then cooking, and they'll give you a buff. And then towards the end of the demo, I did encounter this section that is trying to be a platformer, and there's no nice way for me to really sugarcoat it about this part of the game, but it's horrible. The way the camera scrolls, the feeling of the controls, they felt a little bit floaty and delayed. It's easy to die because there's like no invincibility frames when you take a hit here. If that platforming stays the way it is in the demo, this will actually be one that I don't end up playing and bothering with. They got a lot of work to do there, but the side-scrolling shooter parts, the charm and humor in the story, the RPG elements, all of that stuff is good. They might want to consider going back to the drawing board on the platforming, though. That was really weak. Like, it needs some work if you're going to keep that in. Then the fourth and final game is Kero, Cowboy. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I saved the best for last. I absolutely adored this game. They did give me the entire first world to play through, which was a good sample of what the game has to offer, but I loved this game so much. I played through all of the content that was here. I did also unlock the bonus level. It seems like on each world, if you collect all of the big coins, I don't really know what they're called, but if you collect all the big coins, you'll unlock a bonus level on the world that you can play before the boss fight if you want. You'll play as this little frog here who's got a big old hat on, and it plays like a mix between a side-scrolling action platformer like the 2D Kirby games, but also you have a gun that you can pull out and start blasting away enemies with. You have limited ammo with this, so I feel like I was a bit too conservative with the gun, but it's pretty fun when you pull this bad boy out and start capping enemies. The way that checkpoints work in this is that you'll find a little friend here roasting up a hot dog, and you pay him 10 coins, and that'll acquire that checkpoint. So if you die, you'll respawn there. It also fills your health and your ammo. So the coins right off the bat felt like they served a purpose. The big coins also serve a purpose because they unlock the bonus level. And that's one thing that I really loved about this, is that every single thing in the game felt like it was serving a purpose that was actually fun. Using the gun in certain situations, Kirby inhaling enemies and spitting them out to take out others, the coins for the checkpoints and to replenish your health and ammo. There's also secrets in the game. I noticed a few times the wall looked a little funny, so I shot it with my gun, and lo and behold, there was a hidden coin in there. There was also a few sections in the demo that were like Karibu's shoe style from Super Mario Bros. 3, where you could essentially, walk on spikes and bounce off enemies. You could also jump up and out of it to get more trajectory in your jump. Just every single thing about this demo I really enjoyed and loved. The only thing I'll say that I'm hopeful for is that the main game, I'm hoping they at least have a different music track for each world, because in the demo you pretty much listen to the same song the whole time. It's not a bad song, but you know, playing the same song for the entirety of a world. If the whole game's like that, it's going to get old really quick. So I'm hopeful that at least one new song for each world, and that won't be a complaint for me. But in the demo, just the one song, it was getting pretty old by the end. But I really enjoyed this one, and I loved it so much. Like, I want to play the demo again and just experience it all over again because I had that much fun with it. This seems like one that might end up being like one of my favorite Game Boy Color games. Admittedly, my Game Boy Color list is fairly short, and I did add a game to my favorites list just recently with Winsley's Guardian. But Kero Cowboy is definitely the one that I played in this video that I'm looking forward to the most. If you enjoy Kirby, if you enjoy action platformers, if you enjoy Game Boy Color games just in general, you absolutely should check out this demo because it was a blast. So that's it, everyone. That's the 4 games I played for this video. I hope you enjoyed at least one of the games. And, you know, let me know in the comments which one you enjoyed the most or you're looking forward to the most. Or, here's a good idea. If there's any Game Boy Color games coming out this year that I did not mention yet on my channel, please let me know so I can give them a look. I'm always on the lookout for new homebrew releases for any of the older platforms. I've had a blast covering some more retro indies here on the channel. So please let me know in the comments below if there's any that I haven't mentioned yet. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you next time.